who likes to land where, the match is going to be at that point, right? Things are going to change, and the game is going to be played in a way that we have not seen yet. And that's what excites me the most, is that we're going to see a handful of the world's best on the way home. Oh, man, I can't wait. I can't wait. And to see all the Fortnite fans there as well, kind of cheering on the people they support. It's going to be, are you ready to feel the crowd's energy? I'm going to cry. Rip through your body? I'm going to cry. It's literally going to, you're going to feel a vibration of the entire stadium. It's just a rock when the entire place happens. Chill, Steve, chill. Oh, yeah, we just fist bumped the guys into the Fortnite fan. We had a little moment there. We hope you have that moment with us. Hashtag Fortnite World Cup. Are you hyped for the Fortnite World Cup finals in New York City? That's what we got here. Finds an elimination. Cracked up there. Now, this is his first win. He's probably hoping for more, right? At this point, he wants as many points as possible. He's going to look to probably play a little bit more aggressive, right? But look at everyone else. Mopping the number one player who's came through. For Asia is in this round. He's dominating 12 eliminations by him. He's just been shutting it down. He's been shutting out Storm here. Mopping going for the high ground. He's holding it. Nice little side jump right there. No errors coming out of him. Look how he's the boom boom cracked open. All the play. Nice little 82 right there. Here comes the pressure. Can't get the follow-up. He's looking for it. Nice little side jump. That's another one of the players. Off guard because those roof panels are just, that's it, exploding right up. Yeah. Down in the low ground, CZ gets one Elim there, and it's Macy and Mev who's going toe-to-toe. Mob still just has the dominant position.
Yeah, I mean, so he's going to drop down. He's got the single build, so he had to take a little bit of fall damage to rejoin everyone from the stratosphere. Macy's down below, and look at this. Immediately, boom, he says, I know you heard me take this fall damage. You don't know how much it was. They go for the challenge, and Moffin was prepared. He knew. Again, it's just about dictating the game, right? He's like, I want you to challenge me. You know that I'm hurt, how hurt I am. You do not know. And just like that, dictating the game yet again cleans up that victory out. 15 eliminations.
Points is that? It's that 25-point game.
That's
literally doubling his score out of nowhere. If you were in the top 10 and you had that come up, that's it.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Now, guys, you know, we've had an awesome time, but for now, we're going to hit pause. Let's send it back into studio with Dr. Lupo, because I believe the doctor is in.
What a terrible, repetitive joke, Zeke, but I appreciate the effort. I'm just kidding. Thanks, Zeke. Appreciate that. Crazy games from Asia and Oceania. You love to see kind of the meta changes and how different regions present themselves and the way that they adjust their gameplay relative to everybody else. But Europe today, and as we've seen multiple times in the past, Europe has done an excellent job of putting on a show like I think few people could even possibly imagine. And to talk about that and an interesting turn of events for who ended up at the top, joining me right now is Sundown. What do you think so far about Europe?
Thank you so much, Lupo. Indeed, it was crazy. So just a couple of quick facts I want to write down. 15 points separated 100th place and 8th place. That means a 5-point victory royale was the difference of going to New York City and being in the 100th spot. That is absurd for how close it was. Blackso, in that final game we watched, pushed him up to 61 points. He was tied at 61, but because he had the victory royale and got the average elim at the end, it pushed him into the last spot. We talk about how every single interaction ends up mattering, and then unfortunately on the outside looking in, Airwalks, the last play we saw, if he had had one more build, he could have made it up the elevation and kept the storm. Instead, lost it, lost the victory royale, and lost his spot in New York City. Mitro also on the outside looking in, 2 top 15 finishes, but not being enough. That lets you know how crazy it is. However, the player who took the top spot was Cyphers in Dreda with a crazy run, and we're going to be joined by him right now. And Dreda, man, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling very good.
I mean, I would hope so. So we saw you yesterday put on an incredible show. In week after week, your placings have gone up. What was the difference between this weekend and all of the other weekends? Were you just feeling it? Did you eat your Wheaties for breakfast? What's going on?
The thing is, the other weeks I wasn't that confident, but this week I decided to try and talk with someone while playing. So that kind of helped. Getting to like talk to people, getting them to calm you down and stuff. And I got good RNG. Very good.
Nice, yeah, being able to get all of that and put it together. So you got off to an incredible run, winning 2 of your first 4 games. How were you able to get those victories? Did you just dominate them out? You had a solid amount of elims. What were those wins like?
I was using the bowler to get the end game, and then I usually found out like when I needed to drop out and stuff to go for the eliminations. And I usually had my bowler until end game. So the thing is, you should try and keep your bowler until end game, because it's really strong. You can go out of your bowler, get a lot of kills, and win the game. Also, you can use the bowler to get height most of the times.
Yeah,
so I did that sometimes. And
we saw you execute on that a number of times, which is kind of something we were talking about, pushing the gameplay and actually turning the baller into something that was aggressive. Now, kind of about midway through, you looked at the leaderboard, saw you were in such a lead and knew you'd be able to close it out. But my question is, when it was all said and done, and you saw you were there, you're in the #1 spot, what did you do? Did you run around your house? Did you go tell your parents? Were you celebrating on Discord? What was that moment like?
I was celebrating so much. I actually got hosted by Symphony. My stream was going crazy. I was actually, while I was playing, like my 5th game, I started crying because I almost knew I was qualified. So that was probably one of the best moments in my life ever. I don't know what to say.
It's got to be exhilarating, honestly, to know that, especially in Europe, which we've talked about as one of the most difficult regions to qualify in. Even with 8 positions, there's so much pressure there. But I got to ask a kind of a random question. I keep seeing the lighting change on your face. What are you watching right now?
I'm actually watching the Fortnite stream.
All right, you see yourself. There's layers here. There's layers. It's very Inception level. Well, thank you so much, Andretta, for joining us. Before we let you go, though, if you could do me a favor, please, 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 please shout out your own channels, shout out your duo's channels, anybody you want to.
Okay. So my Twitch is Andretta. My Twitter is Cypher Andretta. My YouTube is Andretta. And I want to shout out Shoko Laden, and all the people in that Discord. And I want to shout out my stream. Thank you so much for the support.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much. Again, incredible performance both yesterday and today. Congratulations. $10,000, a spot in New York City, and as Golden Boy would say, we'll have to get a slice of pizza. We'll be seeing you later, man.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely incredible. It's crazy to think just the age ranges too. You have kids that are so young, all the way up to, I believe the oldest qualified right now is 24
right now. Yep.
Consider how much they're playing for too. I don't blame him honestly for getting emotional in the middle of even halfway through his games. It's insane.
It's just nuts to me where he's like, oh, I didn't have the level of confidence. And then right after, it's like, yeah, about like halfway through my games, I started crying because I knew I'd done it. And it's like, that's the level of confidence you need to be bringing on the final day. Just huge shout out to Andretta. Go follow him on Twitter, follow him on Twitch, give him all the plugs because I promise you'll be seeing more of this prodigy. Topping Europe is an incredible accomplishment, but we have more games and more regions to be getting into. We saw Oceania and Asia just now. We're going to hop on in to Brazil for a brief little bit. So back on over to the cast as we go.
Thank you guys so much. Man, you know, I feel like we've just nerded out about Fortnite, but now seeing Andretta be there and just like talk about things, it makes me want to nerd out more.
Dude, it gives me the feels, man. These young champions coming up and coming out, and it's crazy. Like he said, he just knew he made it, because if you look at the track history of all the players who've qualified so far, I say it every week, it only takes about 5 or 6 games. That's all it takes. If you get 5 or 6 aces, just solid games, big points, big placement, you're knocking on the door.
Right.
All you got to do is not choke the rest. Just ease it out. Just ease it out. Get a couple here, get a couple there, secure the deal, and Andretta knew 5 games in, oh my gosh, I think I got the 5 that I really needed to make it to New York City. And that was it. That was like literally it. Long behold, though, he gets first first in the whole thing. European, the toughest region, in my opinion.
Yeah.
One of the toughest regions. Of course, you can't take away from West, who sometimes only gets one spot. You know, OCE, Asia, and Brazil, of course, they only get one spot. It's crazy. That's arguably harder, but when you talk about mass player pool, Europe is hard, dude. To get #1 is insane.
Well, especially for Andretta, I had a card not that long ago kind of saying a few of his placement spots. Last week, we watched him end in 610th place. And now, the last solo week, now to see him in the final week come out as that #1 player. You know, that's...
It just clicked.
You know, I would associate with, like, you know, there's 8 spots. And if you hit one of 8, great, awesome. I've qualified, great. But to be able to say, of that 8, I was #1. Look, you know, Tifus of the world, you guys need to respect my game. I came in #1 in Europe. That's why I'm here in the finals. Like, let's go. It's going to be insane. Oh, man, I love Fortnite so much. 23 people left in the current lobby, though. Monster hopping in Storm Circle 6. Now, guys, don't forget, we are hopping into Brazil games. These are live. For a moment there, we had the timer. We're about 1:30 or so left on queue times. Don't forget, it's 10 games.
An hour.
About an hour 40. Okay, I was close. Darn. I was just off by 10. We have either that 3-hour window or 10 matches to play, whichever comes first. And then obviously we're going to, you know, make sure that, because don't forget, you can queue up even with those last few seconds and then play out an entire match. So we want to just make sure everyone has enough time to wrap up their games, get those standings out. But here we go. Peru, hop into with him. 100 ping. All right.
Things are unfolding right now as we speak. So this is a live situation here. Brazil, known for another region that you have to pick up heavy elimination, secure placement points. This is not just a win every game and you make it through scenario. You need the elims as well. Nice shot right there from Peru. 100 ping. Connecting with the combat. Oh, bumps his noggin right there, and it's going to cost him a second launch pad.
Yeah, you definitely want to look up. You never want to make that happen because you waste a secondary launch pad, but it's okay. New rotation coming out. He's got to reassess. He's going to be able to get himself to safety. Now, he's already hit top 15, so everything's okay. We're still in the running here. But, you know, there's a lot of big names in the Brazil region. All the W7M boys. You see the red teams, right? You know, Snow, just to name one. You know, the X-Own King. So many talented players.
Seen Techno Viking kind of pull through.
Also from Red, you know, man, there's so many players here that this spot could go to. Tries to challenge for the launch pad, doesn't get it, and says, Kin, I'm going to go ahead and shut you down. You took that launch pad, I need it, and that's what helps him make the rotation.
Ooh, but he does get hit by a combat. It's Ice who's in the high ground, so Peru's now found himself in a dire situation. He's got to start healing. Tony's underneath the build, putting some pressure up, but Tony gets melted by Code, Pulsari, and so does Gabriel. Just gets owned by Vanessa on the edge there. Clip Node now putting pressure down. We're going to hop into his perspective here as he's looking for this combat. That's 1, that's 2. Doesn't find a 3rd, but it's okay as he raises himself up another layer. He's trying to get a brief moment of peace in this crazy storm that he's in right here. He can't even heal. A nice little shot. Fran, he catches him in the toe. It's going to keep him in the game here.
This is huge, man. He's already on 8 eliminations. When we talk about elimination counters, especially on finals, 8 is massive. You know this player has been on a spree. And look at this. Clipnote looking to play it out as technically as possible, looking for these angles, waiting for people to turn their backs and send shots over. I think he's trying to go for the wall replace.
Yeah, he hit this guy for white, so he knows he can take this right here. He's got to be careful, though. Can't let his guard down. Turns around. It's Peru, who was in a weird spot before. He was very low on health. Turns that one around. Someone else goes down to the storm right there, so Clipno couldn't even get that. It's Vamos, who was still in the game. And Exakao holding up the high ground right now. What's he going to do? He's just walking on these builds. He doesn't have anything left. Neither does Clipno.
In the shadow form, he just obliterates the player. That was absolutely insane. But Clipnote is the victor of that game. Like, see what it did there? You maybe saw it, maybe didn't. It's okay. Next game, though, massive prop. Oh, you see
the clip and the this and the that.
I just rhymed. No big deal. I'm not a rapper. 44 players in the next game. Moving on in. Man, he popped that ghost right out of the sky. Maybe you could call him a ghost buster.
Oh.
Shout outs to Jeff.
Right,
I made your joke. We're going to high five after this from production.
Take his joke?
Yeah, he wanted me to make the joke on broadcast, so I did it. Again, guys, hashtag Fortnite World Cup. Give production some love. There's so many people that work so hard to make this all possible, and they're all wonderful human beings that I honestly cannot give and express enough love for. So just say, hashtag Fortnite World Cup production team, you guys are awesome. That would mean the world to me and to them. And an hour and a half, I guess, 36 minutes. I'm just going to be specific because everyone's always like, you're rounding, don't do that. I'm sorry, it's just how I work.
Yeah, Zeke, there's 1 hour and 36 exact minutes and 13 seconds at this current moment. Every second, every moment matters.
That's right. Here we go.
It's Fax trying to get this guy to come down. Combat redeploy. He gets behind the tree. Tree works out in his favor and shadow bomb.
Ooh, you saw too. He was like,
Yeah.
dude, I want this elim. I worked real hard. I need to find it. And they shadow bomb out. They're like, no, no, no.
Oh,
and
what
in
happened?
the end, it was the elimination credit. He must have
Storm.
fallen to the storm. Don't forget, with those
Wow.
recent changes, you got to be more careful, man. That 60-second timer, you can't play around with that.
Dude, he must have. I can only imagine in shadow form, if you wall hop off of a structure and it throws you back just a little bit.
A little
it
bit.
must have been just enough to hold him into the storm.
Yeah.
And that's how Fax caught that elimination here. As the congestion, this is unreal for the Brazil region. You don't see it get this crazy, but 40 players basically on a non-moving zone right now. We're just approaching the first. Luco boy finds Mew Pao there, and Oni Tomori is putting in some pressure as well. Just kind of seeing what he can find here. Fax just waiting on by, trying to
He's got the launch pad.
holding it in the hand.
Yeah, he doesn't want to give it away because if you put it down early, it does make that sound, and players know, all right, community launch pad, there you go. Great, you making sure that the storm overtakes it, so if anyone else wants to do it, they take the damage for it. Bro, we are nowhere. It's still 9 players. 8 players need to fall before top 25.
Yeah, this is actually insane right now. These guys are sticking around for placement in these final moments here. But if you want to take first place, you got to get elims here, and that's why Fax is being so proactive right now.
Something to point out, too, check the right side of your screen. The damage threshold, don't forget about that. Look at this number, though. 1,000 damage above the threshold. This guy is putting in work right now. Fax, he is going full send. He is aware. He wants to try and qualify. Remember, there's a spot up for grabs in Brazil, and these are live games happening right now. So, you know, Oceania and Asia happened overnight. We still have to crown a champion coming out of the final solo week for Brazil.
Yeah, Fax is already at 13 points, so if that was his game 1, he's way ahead of the curve here. This might be about his 3rd or so, but nonetheless, he's still in the running right now. These are some respectable points to be had. He's going for the high ground, catches him with a clothesline to Zoom, straight up, hits him with the 96. And now, he's in it, but he's gonna go down to the low ground here. He doesn't want to contest for the high. He still has to pop some minis, and the server's collapsing on him with raining fire here. He's got to be extremely careful. Lucky for him, the high ground is in a battle of its own now. Fax catches a moment to regather himself as Ganks and Lorax is in the high ground.
Man, and look at all these players coming in from the community launch pads, any rotational tools they had, the
no,
Rift to
the
goes.
van.
Oh, yeah.
That's a weird place to be, man. You can't build on that thing.
Yeah, you got to be careful. You have to build over it.
Up and over.
A shot into the storm.
Oh, my.
And that is Tuelas
Oh,
picked
my.
up 2. Tate as well. Frita, batata frita. 2 eliminations
Is that,
to name.
is that another? Oh, that one's just yoinked from him. He almost had it. But credit is still to be had here as he is turning up right now.
Bro.
I can't pronounce that the way Zeke did, but batata frita is going in right now. He's looking for this high ground.
You see the technical builds, too? Using the cone and then hopping out around, using that floor to catch yourself so you kind of save a build there? All right. All right, batata frita.
Oh,
I'm
my.
about it. An 82 and a follow-up. That is Lorax.
And he got the mats. That's what's important here. He does have the materials to hold out now. The high ground is here. Can he stick it out, though? Yes, players are dropping right now. We're in top 6 suddenly. So all these placements are being divvied out. Just one more person goes down, and just a little bit more is going to be rewarded to him here.
Man,
You can see the shot there.
this was really good from him, right? Making the decision to go high ground. Look at this. He's put him in the top 5. We were top 25 when we kind of tuned into him, right around there. And because of his decision making, he's gotten himself all the placement points. The victory route is the next threshold. And look, Monster, he's just looking to close this out.
That's right, and I love it because he's just textbook holding his high ground, but he is out of mats now. So this is where you have to go down. Uses the cone right there to sit on that, and he just has to give the high ground to Avir here.
I believe that is Avalar. I think.
Oh, Avalar. Gotcha,
Yes,
gotcha.
I think so. Sundown can correct me at some point. He's going to go toe with that player, though, and that is it. Good day, sir.
All right, did he get mats off that? He didn't, Zeke.
He's got the flint knock, though. He's got...
He's got the combat, so he's got right there. One more shot to Wonder Urzen is going to go down. Is he going to go down? Yes, he is. Free to connects in the final moments right there and walks away with the 6th elimination victory royale.
Man, 16-point game coming out of the Brazil region. You like to see it. Now, Fortnite fam, you know we've had so much fun hanging out with you, but for now, let's sit back in the studio and see what Dr. Lubo's got.
Thank you, Zeke. Thank you, Master D Face, you legends. I know a lot of people are wondering, and yes, we're going to look at it here in a second because the tension in Brazil is high. South America putting on an excellent show, and we want to see what the standings are, so I'm going to take a little stroll on over, and we're going to look at the board and see exactly where everybody is lining up right now, and here you go, top to bottom. Club Note sitting at 51 points, 4 games played in 2 victory royales, but right on his tail, only King, 45, just 6 points behind, and only 3 games played. You see the spread here, not too far away from each other. Multiple players from previous qualifying weeks. King, Code Nix right there. Both players already have made their way. They've already punched their ticket to New York City, but consistency is key, as you can see here, an example of exactly that. You'd love to see it. Brazil, thank you so much for everything you've done for us so far, putting on an excellent show. But before we get on the rest of the games of the day, we're going to take a quick 5-minute break, so don't go anywhere except for maybe to the bathroom. Sorry, half hour. I do this every time. Production yells at me repeatedly. I don't know how to tell time, all right? It's 30 minutes. Go get some lunch. Swing on back. See you in a bit.
72 hours, just trying to stay alive. Played out of his mind yesterday. A fantastic day, but as we know, Saturday doesn't always transfer over to Sunday. 72 hours spraying with this infantry rifle close range. Oh, doesn't get that a limb. Does stay in the zone, doesn't get that a limb either. There you go.
Found one.
Okay, they do drop, but he kind of tunnel visioned here, Lupo. He kind of tunnel visioned here,
Way
Lupo.
outside, and the storm pushing his way in. Is he going to make it
no.
or not? We'll have to see. Just barely 10 HP remaining. The shadow bomb to continue pushing on through to the opposite side of the safe zone. Almost lost it there. 90 HP to the zone is not ideal. Wishes he had that slurp, I'm sure, at this point, hoping he can find some way to get this back. Frantically building his way to the top, trying to build up inside the safe zone, stay at the forefront of the storm. 12 players left. We're very close.
Yep.
Got to make it to the top 5 to pick up the last 2 points before the victory royale is the only way for placement to matter anymore. Player directly above him. J-Storm Painful looking down. Maybe an opportunity for Tom. He's going to see it. Releases the edit wall and builds forward. Doesn't want to engage just yet. A little bit of fall in there. No fall damage.
I thought that was going to be it right there.
Very close. 8 players left. J-Storm picking up another elim.
Oh.
Threats finds him inside a box. 72 hours goes down. Just